It is Wednesday night, everybody. You know what that means. It's time for another edition of the Greg Cherry Show. Thank you all very much for joining me. I am, of course, your host, as of today, four-time Fan Quizlemania champion, the longest reigning WTC World's champion, Greg Cherry. It may be five. It may be five by tomorrow. We will see. I will let you know on the post show for Jack of All Trades. But that's tomorrow. We're going to talk about some stuff today because we have an interesting show ahead of you. As you can see in the description, the wheel spins are still intact. You want a wheel spin? You know what to do. Sent the comment in the chat for all the streaming places. If you want to donate, feel free to do so. So on today's show, I was going to talk about wrestling in general, but we got to talk about the big wrestling news of today, broken by Fightful and Sean Ross Sapp. Is CM Punk actually coming back to wrestling? That's a question we're going to answer, or at least speculate a lot about. Jack of All Trades preview, episode number 4, drops tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern. Really looking forward to that. Gonna delve into some weird thoughts. We did this last week, and it was very, obviously, thought-provoking as the dog makes a cameo appearance. Fingers. The dog makes a cameo appearance. But yeah, we're going to delve into some weird thoughts. Some things you may not have thought about before. Or maybe you have. And, of course, the Wednesday Q&A. What are you body checking my chair for? All right. And yes, Josh, as always, hashtag Cherry for Quizlemania. Appreciate it, as always. So, we're going to be talking about the big topic as of today. We're talking about, is CM Punk coming back to wrestling? You know, I have a very important story about CM Punk's last wrestling match, which was 2014 Royal Rumble match. Because that match happened in Pittsburgh. And yes, I was there for CM Punk's very last official wrestling match. And then the news broke either Monday or Tuesday after that Punk had officially left the company. Maybe not officially released, but he left the company and walked out, essentially. So to hear this news, it's slightly after 10 years to the day, but a little more than 10 years after he became WWE champion at Money in the Bank. It's hard to believe that moment was 10 years ago. It's just incredible. Not the wrestler. It's just incredible to think that Punk could actually be returning. And a lot of speculation is about him going to AEW. Again, not confirmed by any stretch of the imagination. But that is where the speculation lies, which makes a lot of sense. If CM Punk wants to take AEW to the next level, then that's where he'll go. Because I feel like having CM Punk in your camp after such a long absence is going to be an incredible thing. You cannot possibly have to go out right now. When Big G gets on the show, then you can talk about it for a little bit, and I'll take you out. But yeah, it's such a weird thing to think that CM Punk could be stepping in a ring again. I know he did some work for the show Heels with Stephen Amell. But whether or not that translates to him actually getting in the ring, wouldn't that be some crap if his return to wrestling was actually the heel stuff and not AEW or WWE? Because we knew about the heel stuff, but we didn't know whether or not he would actually be stepping in a ring for real again. So what do you guys think? Do you think that CM Punk is going to make his way back to a wrestling ring? Do you think it'll be this year? Do you think it'll be next year? We will see. Josh Mansfield says SRS, Sean Ross Sapp, for those who don't know, is a glorious wrestling being. He is the legit opposite of he who must not be named from the Observer. Yeah, old Uncle Dave is a very speculative, whereas Sean Ross Sapp goes out and gets that information. Appreciate you, SRS. He's not watching, but it's fine. And Josh says, I was at Raw the next night and wondered why he wasn't there. I remember being one of the only ones cheering Batista, not knowing why everyone else was booing. Well, for some perspective, since I was in the Rumble crowd, Josh, everybody thought, well, most everybody thought that Daniel Bryan was going to enter the Royal Rumble and possibly win it. And everybody was speculating he was going to come out at number 30. I know. They were speculating he was going to come out at number 30. And, you know, me being me, I figured out math-wise while watching all the promos on the screen about everybody talking about the Rumble. I was like, Daniel Bryan's not 30. It's going to be Rey Mysterio. And everybody was incredibly disappointed that it was Rey Mysterio at number 30. So it's one of those things. That they didn't want Batista to win, and once Daniel Bryan didn't come out, it was very. If you remember the 2015 Rumble, the year after, when it became predictable who was going to win, everybody turned on the match, and nobody wanted to see Batista win the Royal Rumble in that building. And it's strange because Daniel Bryan, or not Daniel Bryan, but Roman Reigns was actually the crowd favorite because he was eliminating people left and right. And people wanted to see a new face win the Royal Rumble. They didn't want to see Batista just walk back into the company and earn that championship match after not having been there for, 4 years at that point? Almost 4 years. So for him to get the main event spot, what was ridiculous in a lot of people's eyes, when people thought it could have been Punk, it could have been Bryan, it could have been Reigns even at that point, because the Shield was one of the hottest tickets in the WWE. So for it to just be Batista, here's my thing. Here's what I think ruined that entire thing. The fact that they brought out Batista on the Raw before, the fact that they brought Batista out, and the fact that they ran promos that he was coming back, I think that hurt him. I feel like if he would have come in as a legitimate surprise, nobody knew he was there, and won, I feel like it would have been different. I might be wrong, but I feel like them spoiling that Batista was coming back, they kind of showed their hand as far as the Rumble went. I have a lot of speculation about the 2014 match, and that's my personal opinion that they kind of ruined that event, and I don't feel like it was the right way to go. Granted, all things considered, the actual main event of what it turned out to be with Daniel Bryan, Batista, and Randy Orton, fantastic main event. So props to them on that. But the actual decision to have him win the Royal Rumble after really spoiling his appearance and him that being his first match back since the I Quit match against Cena, there were some flaws in that plan. In my opinion. What else do you guys think about Cena coming back? Daniel says, if CM Punk returns to wrestling and joins AEW, do you think he may be the one to beat Kenny Omega for the AEW championship? That's a possibility. it really depends on how long they want to keep the championship on Omega. Because I feel like he's going to break a year. It really should be Hangman Page. If Hangman Page wins at All Out, which he very well may, or maybe it's like a CM Punk enters and costs Omega the championship, and then they start a feud. So Omega might not even be champion. Again, lots and lots of speculation, but that's my opinion. Having CM Punk doing their creative and booking would be better. You can actually say that probably for a lot of wrestlers that, or are you talking about AEW? Because WWE creative is long regarded as not being super impressive, depending on what show you're watching. Even though Papa H has his issues with Punk, I don't see him allowing Vince to let Punk go to AEW without a fight unless they truly believe it won't do anything. I feel like people think that Punk going to AEW might have like a Hogan-like effect. And what I mean by that is like he might be the big star that AEW needs. Not that they don't have big stars, but he might be the person to generate that renewed interest. Maybe some people have stopped watching since CM Punk left. And hearing that he's with a completely different organization, he's back in wrestling, maybe that'll spark some people. What is your problem? And you say, although I think it worked with Edge in the 2021 Rumble because people did want it. The difference between Edge and Batista, in my opinion, yes, Edge came back on the Raw before and like a show-ending promo. I know. You have to wait. I'm sorry. The thing with Edge coming back is Edge wasn't gone for 4 years at that point. He was just out with an injury. He was out with a he was out with that torn triceps after the quote unquote greatest wrestling match ever. So people wanting Edge to win the Rumble worked because not only did Edge not come in late, I mean, he started the thing. He busted his ass for nearly an hour, might have been over an hour, and ended up winning the Rumble. So people respect Edge for that because Edge loves wrestling more than most other things. So I think the situations are different. It was very special that Edge came back and he was named the number one entrant. Technically, he was named number two, but then they switched it up for whatever reason the day of. But yeah, I think the situations are different there. Daniel says, I would like to see CM Punk face MJF. That might be interesting. That might be really interesting to see once the Jericho feud is over with, to see MJF face off against CM Punk. Because you figure CM Punk, if he does show up in AEW, has to be considered a babyface. I unfortunately won't get to see him. I can't imagine he debuts tonight or any time before they go to Chicago. I mean, think about it. Chicago would be the perfect place. And here's something else I said earlier. Something else that I said earlier on Twitter that I feel like people are getting themselves a little too hyped for CM Punk because, like I said, it is not confirmed by any stretch of the imagination that he is going to be appearing at All Out or appearing in AEW in general. It's pure speculation at this point. He's just been talking to people, but it's one of those things that's if he does come in, he's going to be a babyface because you figure he's been gone for 7 years, 7.5 at this point, and they're not going to throw him in there and be a heel. So they're going to want to have a big name heel face off with CM Punk. You might want to save the Omega match. Perhaps you do throw that match in with MJF. Perhaps you throw it in with who's another big heel in AEW. I would say Miro, but you don't want him chasing a championship right away. So, I mean that Big G. Are you actually in the stream? I see your thing, but I just see your low profile picture. And this is more unlikely. I would also like to see CM Punk tag with Colt Cabana and go for the AEW Tag Team Championship. Have they mended their fences from after that podcast interview? I don't know if that's the case, but all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring in even more talk on CM Punk here with our very special guest. He's been on the Greg Cherry Show before. You know him, you love him. And he was also on the debut episode of Jack of All Trades. So once he turns on his camera, I'm going to pitch it to him, and then he's going to be on camera by himself for a little bit talking about it. So as soon as your face pops up, I'm going to pull you into the show. Chris Butler does bring up a good point. Every year he's supposed to come back. I'm over it. Let Phil chill. Yeah, it's always been pure speculation up until that point. So, but this is like the first time it's actually been. I don't know if it was confirmed or if it was spoken about that he's actually talking about getting back into wrestling. It makes you wonder if he was he's finally ready after 7 years away to make that big comeback. Okay, I'm bringing you in now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just can't see you.
All right.
I'm John Cena right now.
I'm good. I'm trying to eat dinner too at the same time. So.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Big G in the little circle of the gridiron grapple. So Big G, I'm going to actually put you on camera to talk about CM Punk for a little bit, because I'm sure you saw the news as well that Punk may be coming back to wrestling. So I'm going to let you talk about that, and I'm going to go off camera for a minute or so.
Okay.
Go to it. Was it really dead silence for like the last 5 minutes? Okay. All right. I'm back. So there you go. Thank you guys for sticking around. But yeah, I think we covered everything that we want to cover as far as CM Punk goes. So we're going to hit up our next segment. We're going to talk about Jack of all trades because the next episode is coming up. The Camerons, you gotta love it. Give me a second. Test. This is a test. Test. This is a test. That's how the song goes, right? All right. Little bit of a cluster on the show today. It happens. But we're going to talk about Jack of all trades. So, okay, good. That made it better. So, on tomorrow's episode of Jack of all trades, let me post the graphic. I'm going to take the banner down for it. Well, I guess the banner's fine. So there you see. There are your challengers for tomorrow. You got Brandon Rutledge from Combat Wrestling Trivia. You got Subrath Sharma also from Combat Wrestling Trivia. You have the Simple Man, Noah Foster, who's challenging. It's his first appearance since he was a part of the 1,000 Days for my title reign. And, of course, Travis Fame wants to become the very first Jack of all trades champion. Can it happen? We will see all of that tomorrow. And now we're back. So let us go into our next segment. Of course, the looking for that first wheel spin of the day. And while we wait for that, we're going to talk about some weird thoughts. Let's see if anybody shares these weird thoughts. Here we go. Why is it that when you're driving and looking for an address, you turn down the volume on the radio? Does anybody else do this? Like when they're thinking of something and they have to type something in, you can't do it while the radio's on? I know I have this problem. And this one's not on here, but I brought this up when I was playing poker on Tuesday. Have you ever gone under a short bridge while driving and ducked? I know I do that. I do that all the time. It's like, oh, the bridge is really low, so it doesn't affect the height of the vehicle whatsoever. It's not like it all of a sudden like crunches in and then expands back out. That's not how it works. It's not a friggin' transformer. Why is it called a TV set when you can only get one? Makes you wonder. If pro is the opposite of con, is progress the opposite of Congress? Buy the shirt. Why is it Whether you sit up or sit down, the result is the same. That's a good point. Why do they call them apartments when they are all stuck together? Yeah, because they're not apart. Why is there an expiration date on sour cream? Yeah, I mean, how much worse can it get? I don't like sour cream, so that's something that would actually genuinely confuse me, because unless it's like mixed into something, I don't care for sour cream as like a condiment of any kind. Why do flammable and inflammable mean the same thing? That's one of those weird like English things that I never understood. When the first time I heard about that in like 3rd or 4th grade, the whole flammable and inflammable thing, it made absolutely 0 sense to me, and it still makes 0 sense to me. Ladies and gentlemen, back from his brief hiatus.
I'm back.
There he is. There he is. He's on
back.
the show. Doing some weird thoughts while I'm waiting for a wheel spin. Nobody's jumped on that.
Okay. But yeah, about CM Punk real quick. I mean,
yeah, we'll go back during that.
If he shows up in AEW, which I'm sure he will, because I'm sure Tony Khan will pay him the money.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll be the spot, unless, because I know he wants creative freedom and whatnot, and I don't think WWE is the place to do that right now. So
no, I really don't think that Punk will have. They would have to offer him a ridiculous amount of perks for him to even consider going back.
Right.
And Tony Khan, I feel like, is more willing to give Punk what he wants to get his show to a higher level.
Right. And I would think All Out would be the place to do it because it's in Chicago.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. So he'll miss us in Pittsburgh. I'm actually thinking of wearing this shirt when we go in a few weeks. See if I can spark any conversation. Hopefully not get attacked, but
I'll be there.
You will be there. You'll be higher up.
Me and my buddy, my best man, actually will be there.
There you go. That's a heck of a drive for you too. Coming to Pittsburgh
to the first AEW pay-per-view, Full Gear, back in 2019 when AEW first started. So yeah. It's fitting, and Pittsburgh is the closest place. They're not going to Maryland anytime soon that I know of. So, other than that, yeah.
I like Josh's comment. Big G will pay for a wheel spin.
I don't know if I'll pay for a spin. I don't get paid till tomorrow, so we'll see.
Okay.
It'll be next week.
Yeah, maybe next week.
We'll have to talk privately and see if you guys want to. Is it just you going, or is your wife going with you?
No, Jen is going to be staying home. I'm actually going with a buddy of mine from CWT, Nico, who is in the tournament.
Okay.
So
if you guys want to meet up somewhere, we can figure out the details, because we're staying at a hotel there for the night after the show's over. So
okay. It's going to be one of those things. I'm actually starting a new job in a couple weeks here. So I hope it'll be right after work. I'm going to be like driving down to Pittsburgh, trying to get close to the arena. Might do sheets for dinner just because it's me. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll start like a messenger chat or something, and with both of us and Nico, and see what happens.
Right. So now you're doing Weird Thoughts now? Is that the new thing?
Yeah, I'm doing Weird Thoughts. Also, Josh, going back to this, why don't you pay for a wheel spin?
Right? You're going to SmackDown. You should have the money.
Yeah, if you're going to SmackDown, come on. They're cheaper now than they were on the No DQ channel.
Right.
So, yeah, weird thoughts. All right, going back to this. Why is the word abbreviate so long?
What?
Why is the word abbreviate so long?
I don't know.
Shouldn't there be an abbreviation for abbreviate?
You would think a brie
Yeah.
or ABBR. You would think.
Yeah. Why did kamikaze pilots wear helmets?
I don't know I don't know, to protect their head. I don't know, even though they're dying.
Yeah, I mean they're basically like suicide bombers. So
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, that's crazy.
yeah. What is another word for thesaurus?
That's a good question.
It
Is there
is a
another word?
I don't know the answer to that. When they ship styrofoam, what do they pack it in?
I don't know. That's bubble wrap.
I guess.
Oh my god, what the hell?
This one's kind of ridiculous. If 75% of all accidents happen within 5 miles of home, why not move 10 miles away?
Right? Oh my god. Oh my god. Where did you find these?
On the same place I found the weird state laws. I just
Oh jeez, okay.
searched for different stuff. Why do we sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" when we are already there?
That's a good question.
It is a good question.
That's like a very good question.
It's like, is there not like another baseball song that you can sing that's, or just like eliminate it altogether? It's like you have the 7th inning stretch. You don't, especially because you say "Take me out to the ball game" when the game's almost over. In theory, you do it in the middle of the 7th inning. It's not like you sing it like right at the top of the thing, like right after the friggin' national anthem.
Yeah, that'd be. I could understand it maybe during the beginning, but during the 7th inning stretch, yeah, that's like you have a couple more. What is it? 9 innings altogether.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're like 2 innings away from the game, and you sing "Take Me Out to the Ball." Okay, I mean, it's, if you think about it, it's been a tradition for a very, very long time, and maybe, you know, the person who came up with it was like sitting at home one day and came up with this song, and then they actually went to a game and like, well, here you go, people who can't. I don't know. I'm like thinking way into this right now.
Yeah, we're going into very intricate thoughts on "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." This is the quality content you get here on the Greg Cherry brand. But in that same vein, why are they called stands when they're made for sitting?
That's true. That's that. Yeah, that's.
These are the kind of things that'll unintentionally keep you up at night. Like,
think about that. I'm like, why are they called?
Like, oh, you're on the verge of falling asleep. Why is it called this? And then you're like creating your own research paper in your head of why this is.
Like, stands. Why?
Yeah.
Why are they called stands?
Why do slow down and slow up mean the same thing?
Why do slow down and slow up mean the same? Oh, yeah, that's good. I like it. Slow down, slow up.
Why is there only one Monopolies Commission? You have to think about that one.
Yeah.
And finally, does a fish get cramps after eating?
A good question.
All right, we're gonna hit the Wednesday Q&A. I'm feeling like there's not gonna be a wheel spins this week, but that's fine. Once I find the thing. Right. And I know I answered a question or two earlier, but I'm going to go all the way back to Mr. Yuck, who asked this before the show. Where does Mercedes Martinez go from here? The women's division is seemingly stacked, yet Nikki Cross is on top. Where do you see the road to WrestleMania beginning with the ladies of WWE? We are a long way from the road to WrestleMania, first of all. We're barely on the road to SummerSlam at this rate.
Right.
So a lot can change. Like you might see Sasha back. You might see Becky back. If Bayley recovers early from her surgery, she might be a Royal Rumble winner. It remains to be seen whether or not they do that with her. Mercedes will probably still be in the mix in NXT. Yeah, she got knocked out by Xia Li a couple weeks ago, but
yeah. I mean, she can always challenge. Or she already lost to Raquel too.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can team her up with somebody and go after the NXT tag titles.
I mean, that's a possibility. But Mercedes, if she doesn't do a whole lot more as far as like in-ring work with NXT, they might just use her as a coach, honestly.
Yeah, because she's what, like early 40s?
Probably around there, either late 30s or early 40s.
Yeah, because I know she's been around. Well, she's been around the wrestling business for a long time. Yeah. So, and yet Nikki Cross is on top. Yeah, Vince, from what I've read, on No DQ and whatnot, Vince is very high on Nikki Cross right now. So,
yeah,
which I don't get. You keep Nikki Cross, but then you fire her husband.
Well,
like seriously, I mean,
Big Dano, Killian Dane, he was kind of a little bit lost in the shuffle in NXT, even with teaming with Drake.
True.
So it could be another one of those like cost cutting measures. Like,
yeah,
will they bring anybody back?
It just didn't make any sense to me. It's like you have Nikki on this. Nikki's been on a roll ever since what was it, right before Hell in a Cell? She got that big push and she won Money in the Bank this past Sunday and won the title on Monday. Yep. But then you're like, well, like you said, he was mixing the shuffle, but then, he could have been brought up back to the main roster. But, like you said, they were cutting costs. So it is what it is.
It is, unfortunately. If he ever comes back, that remains to be seen. But I mean, we've already seen Samoa Joe get released and come back to NXT, so
right,
anything can happen with that.
Right.
Josh is asking, he's going to SmackDown on Friday. SmackDown will have Cena, Edge, Balor, potentially Sasha, the women's tag team champs. What shirt should I wear? I can't decide. This one. If you have this one,
if you have that, wear that one, or wear a Cena shirt if you have Cena or Edge, whoever you have.
Yeah, just wear a shirt,
or just wear all 4 shirts and just start stripping if you get warm.
Don't do that. That'd probably be weird. But whatever shirt you want to wear, don't let the fact that you're in a shirt, unless you're gonna be like hard cam side where like green shirt dude is. Don't let that affect your decision. If you're like higher up and you're not even on the hard cam side. Doesn't really matter. You can wear a suit and tie, and as long as you enjoy the show, that's all that really matters.
Right.
So I wouldn't put too much. Don't overthink it. Is what I'm trying to say.
That'll be me when we go to AEW.
I'm already telling you, I'm wearing this shirt.
Oh, okay.
Or at least one of mine. Hey, might as well mark it while I'm in Pittsburgh. If Danielson goes to AEW, is it bigger than Angle to TNA or Hall and Nash to WCW? That's a good question. Yeah, it's probably about the same. There is a lot of speculation about Brian Danielson going to AEW just because his contract expired and they're not planning on using him anytime soon. He can still
Yeah.
go, obviously, but he might
But
come to
I think-
AEW for a lighter schedule. You never know.
I think AEW at this point needs to cool off with signing people. I mean, you just signed Malachi Black. I mean, you have like this huge roster.
Yeah.
And you have Dark and Elevation, and you have Rampage coming in about 3 weeks' time.
Mm.
So, and I'm sure you can. I think that's what, an hour show. So I mean, you can showcase people on there too. So, but
It's going to be one of those things where you're right. They don't want to sign too many people because then everybody starts to like lose a little bit of importance. And then it's nice to have an overstacked roster, but the problem is, especially if you look at the internet wrestling community, you can't push everybody at once. You just can't. It's not the way it works. Like, some people are going to be left on the back burner, and then people are going to complain that they're not used right. It's like, listen, everybody on Twitter, if you think that you can run a wrestling company, get the startup capital, sign the talent, and see how well you can book everybody. Because guess what? Not everybody on your roster can be a world champion.
if you want to do that, go check out that new AEW game.
Yeah,
AEW GM.
Yeah, download the general manager game for AEW.
I think they're even having a tournament or something like that. But download that game. You can be a GM. You can run your own roster and cut and sign, do whatever. So,
but as far as Bryan Danielson potentially going to AEW,
it could have. I mean, we like it with Punk. I usually go, I'll see it when I believe it, because nobody knew that Malachi was going to show up on AEW whatsoever. And, they just, like I said, if anything, sign Punk and Daniel Bryanson at the same time and just have like all together, or, just sign CM Punk.
Yeah.
And just have him show up at All Out, no hints, no surprises, no nothing. Just bang. I think Colin had posted, or somebody on Twitter posted it, after, if Omega and Paige happens after the match, lights go out and CM Punk shows up or something like that.
Yeah.
So
I can understand that. Hi again. Thoughts on the Money in the Bank winners? I mean, Nikki's already cashed in, so we didn't even get a chance to discuss it. Like,
right.
She won the briefcase, she won the title before I even had a show. So
right.
So, which is good for her. I'm glad she's getting an opportunity, and we'll see how long she holds on to the title.
Right.
I'm honestly expecting not super long, just because Charlotte's going to get another shot. We know that.
Right.
So she's going to get her 15th or 12th. That's something else that confuses me. Why did they like retcon her NXT championship wins and her NXT? NXT tag team title win too, or not NXT.
They nixed her title run from Rhea, and then the one before.
Yeah, the one where she won from Natalia, and they didn't include her women's tag team title, so she's just an 11-time champion. It's like, okay. Like, that's fine. She has less than we thought, but according to you guys, but
yeah,
it's almost exhausting. Like it's basically, I mean, Raw was kind of one big FU to NXT, if we want to really get into
it. Yeah. Don't get me started on that. I don't think we have enough time.
Yeah, we only got about 15 minutes if we want to.
Yeah,
have the entire show discussion.
Big E. I can see Big E cashing at SummerSlam against hopefully
Goldberg.
That's what I'm thinking. If Goldberg wins at SummerSlam,
Big E has to cash it. For him to win the title off of his spoken of dream match, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Big G, we're going to have to take a little bit of a pause for the Q&A because we have our first wheel spin of the night.
Yay! And it's not me. Okay.
It is no, it's not you. Mr. Nelson donate $5 says Punk and Danielson in AEW would be monumental, much bigger than Angle to TNA. That depends. Angle had a fantastic run in TNA. Some argue better than his WWE run. They cannot pass on them if they're willing to go there. You sign them and figure out the rest later. AEW doesn't just let talent rot like some other company.
Mm.
I agree and disagree with that, because if they sign, like we said, too many people, then there's not going to be enough spots for everybody.
Right.
I mean, they can probably figure it out, but it's going to take some serious like attitude era booking to make everybody on the show matter.
Right.
But since we answered that question, I'm going to share my screen because we're going to spin the wheel, make the deal. It's been almost 30 years since that happened in WCW, but where's my mouse?
Okay, well.
There it is. All right. So we're going to spin this wheel, see what happens. It's been very heavy on a couple of them. I have not done an entrance yet since returning to this. So we'll see if that changes. And Mr. Nelson, let me know what you want in the comments if it does pop up on entrance. But here we go. Here's the spin.
I was like, is it spinning?
Oh, yeah, it's spinning.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I called it, didn't I? I freaking called
Oh, wow.
it. I called it. It's an entrance. So let me know in the comments what entrance you want me to do. I've wanted it to come up and it just straight up hasn't. But there you go. Entrance is on the docket.
Oh, wow.
Marshall's in the chat. Hi, Marshall. Good to see you again. It's been a while. I've been busy anytime you had a live stream. Yeah, it's tough getting people, especially at this time.
Yeah.
I legitimately thought before I brought the wheel to the Greg Cherry show about doing the weekend streams again. Maybe when the weather gets colder and more people have to stay inside. But
Right.
Again, we'll see. I'm checking the comments out just in case I see that entrance, because that's going to take precedence over the questions. But I'll still.
Yeah, I don't see anything in the comments.
Yeah, I don't either. So let's see. When do you think Big E will cash in? We basically talked about that with Money in the Bank. You think SummerSlam against Goldberg?
There you go. He said Jericho AEW entrance.
Jericho AEW. Ooh,
So
okay.
Judas.
Here's the thing with Jericho's AEW entrance. He doesn't do a whole lot. So it's like I'd just be playing Judas and then walking out. So and like I don't have a whole bunch of people. So like I don't mind doing it, but I wouldn't be doing a lot. But like you want those entrances that there's actually like movement and stuff. Like Jericho's WWE has more movement and stuff than his
AEW, yeah.
So I'll give you an option to choose another. And also I don't want to get demonetized. Not that I'm monetized anyway, but
Well, he said you can pick one then.
you can pick one. I see a couple people. Oh, he says X-Pac. Okay, I can do X-Pac. Think you're gonna have to move.
Alexa, turn light green. Okay.
I mean, I can do that. Alexa, turn light green. Man cave. There you go.
There you go.
All right. I'm just gonna full screen myself. Yeah, I got to pull up his music too. Full screen myself.
That's good.
Anybody else who wants to see an entrance, you can always spin the wheel too. I don't mind. There we go. Xbox entrance it is. Once the Q&A off. Of course, YouTube's being a pain in the butt about it. So. There you go.
Nice. So I can expect that kind of entrance at the wedding, right? With the Shane O'Mac.
Oh, you better believe it. You best believe I've practiced that Shane O'Mac shuffle. So,
and I gotta practice Street Profits.
There you go. That one's not too bad.
No, it's got. I think I'll be just doing more like maybe like mix it in together because I don't think Colleen's gonna like do anything. I think she'll just walk out. There you go. I'll have the red Solo cups for everybody.
You're right. I did forget the whole like with X-Pac. Yeah.
Oh, jeez, yes.
I forgot. My bad. Looking trim. I am. I thought I had a bit of a gut, but thank you. I did post like a mini workout video on my Twitter.
Yeah, so
just because I enjoy throwing some kicks at a big bag, so it is what it is. All right, back into the Q&A for the last couple minutes. Unless, of course, somebody else donates, then that'll take precedence. Just for the record, if anybody donates and we seem to go overtime, we'll try our best to get to all of them, but we don't want to go too far over because we don't want to interrupt your Dynamite viewing.
Yeah. I think it's night 2 of Fyter Fest, so it's
so
pretty stacked card.
Marshall and Elon both with if Punk and Daniel Bryan go to AEW, what do you think WWE would come back with?
The Rock.
I mean, that's possible because I mean they teased the Reigns and Rock feud, especially around
honestly, like who else does WWE have except for part timers? You know, they don't have anybody.
Yeah, it could be one of those things too where they bring back the Rock and they still have Reigns beat him, and perhaps the Rock beats Reigns down so bad that even if Reigns wins, maybe that's when Big E cashes in and gets his big WrestleMania moment. We don't know. Because I'm trying to think I don't think other than Kofi that any member of the New Day has won at WrestleMania.
No.
I'm pretty sure Woods and E are both winless.
Mm-hmm.
Because you figure Big E he made his WrestleMania debut at 29 with Ziggler. He lost that match. Lost the Battle Royal at 30. 31, I think he was in the Fatal 4-Way Tag. He didn't win that either. 32, They lost to the the foreign dudes.
Yeah.
The League of Nations. They're so forgot. For somebody who's that good with wrestling trivia, I completely forgot the League of Nations name. 33 33, they were the hosts, so they didn't even have a match. 34,
Yeah.
they lost the tag team titles to Bludgeon Brothers. 35 was Kofi Mania. 36, they technically lost the tag team title match
Yeah.
to Miz and Morrison. And this past year, Big E failed to retain his Intercontinental title, and the
Yeah.
New Day lost their titles. So
Yeah.
there's Big E's WrestleMania history. So yeah, Big E getting his first win at WrestleMania, cashing in Money in the Bank, absolutely huge for him.
Yeah. All right.
They have the Fiend. I want the Fiend versus Demon King at SummerSlam. I guess it's
Not
possible.
this SummerSlam.
Yeah, I guess it's possible to do that because they've. I mean, it'd be their third match against each other at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Because you figure the first year was the Demon King facing off against Eater World's Bray Wyatt, and then it was regular Balor against the Fiend. So now
Right.
you want the two superpowers to face each other. But the thing is, I think the Fiend is a babyface, so I don't know if that would work.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go get ready for Dynamite then.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
So I will be seeing you in a little bit, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
All right. See you,
All
Big G.
right. Bye.
And I want everybody else to get ready for Dynamite as well. Thank you very much for watching the show. As always, we're here every Wednesday. Don't forget about Jack of All Trades tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern. If you're not subscribed to the Greg Cherry brand, that is where you find it. If you're watching on any other platform, Jack of All Trades is exclusive to the Greg Cherry brand. So I hope you tune in. I hope you enjoy night 2 of Fyter Fest. Go have fun. And come back next Wednesday for another episode of the Great Cherry Show. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you guys next week. And I'll see you tomorrow for Jack of All Trades, but take it easy.